220 on the bar. This would be a PB. What do you think? Bit scared, man. Bit scared. Keep pulling. Pull that shit up.
Hey, that's me, yes, I'm the one that picked that bar up, that's me. You're probably thinking to yourself saying like, oh, that kid's been training for years to pick that amount of weight up. No, in fact, I managed to double my deadlift in under a year. Wait, that's not double. Alright, scrap that. It was nearly double. But I didn't just do it on my deadlift either. I went from not being able to bench 40 to benching 2.5 times that weight to 100. And weights that I didn't think I'd ever be able to lift, well, I'm repping that now. And squatting, I've squatted 160 kilograms, which again is over twice my body weight. But I didn't start off this way. Let's go back to where I first started. So as you guys know, I used to ride a scooter all day long. I used to go along with my friends. I was riding all day, every single day. And I broadcast it for you guys. So you guys pretty much got to see it in every single video. You got to see what I was doing on a daily basis. But what you didn't see was that I was literally eating next to nothing. I was literally riding the intensity for 8 hours a day, which is burning calories all the time. It's cardio essentially. I was actually very insecure of my body at the time. I was like 5'11" and I weighed literally 130 pounds, which is about 60 kilos in the UK. It's safe to say I was very small. I remember getting comments on my size. I remember getting it at school. School is a pretty lethal place to be when you're not very insecure about something. I feel like everyone at school has to have an input and a say on what you do. And because I was doing YouTube, I could never really hide from people. I was always known to people. It was always, oh, that's the kid that makes the videos. I rode scooters, which is not cool at the time, despite the fact scooting is one of the sickest sports you can do. So yeah, I was getting comments in the comment section telling me about how small and skinny I was. I'd get it at school as well. People telling me to put on mass, people telling me to eat more, people telling me that I looked like a skeleton. I was always a pretty happy face, but people inside would not really know how I felt, and I was always really insecure. It was always things like, oh, you got twig arms. Fuck you. Chicken legs, skinny legs, all these sort of different bits. And you can never really escape from it. Your body is the one thing that everybody can see about you. People can't see what's going on inside your head. You might be the cleverest person in the world, but the number one thing they'll judge you for is what you present in front of you, which is your body. And I wanted to change. How did I do it? This is why you guys have come here. So you guys are probably thinking to yourself, alright Josh, I want to hear everything you've got to say about training, weights, what you do for reps, what you do for sets, how you do this and that. But the most important part of transforming your body, which I found especially, is your diet. So for the first few months of training, I didn't change my diet at all. I ate a little bit more, I had a few more protein shakes. I still put on size as you would do, but I was not making gains as quickly as I could have. I'm going to use this analogy for you because it's a good way of explaining how important diet is. Imagine you've got this brand new Ferrari sat in front of you. It's got quad turbo, it's got a 5-litre engine, its top speed is 220 miles per hour. It's amazing. Imagine that car is your training and your workout regime. Imagine petrol is your diet. That Ferrari ain't going nowhere without that fuel. It's the same as your workouts won't go anywhere without your diet. If you aren't fueling your body with the correct macros, nutrients and calories that it needs to grow, you're not going to grow straightforward. I learned that the hard way. I stopped gaining weight. I didn't stop gaining muscle, but it was just very slow progress, so slow. It was only when I started upping my calories, upping my protein intake, my carbs, my fats, that I really started seeing the difference when it came to not only what my body looked like, also things like performance in the gym. My weights were going up quicker. I remember how quickly like my bench press was going up, for example. So I'm going to quickly explain a little bit about diet. Protein, carbs and fat, they're probably the 3 most important macros that you're going to hear about when it comes to diet. Carbs are so underrated. People don't understand the importance of carbs. Carbs pretty much give you every bit of energy that you require when you're working out in the gym. So if you've had 0 carbs that day, well, you're gonna be feeling like a sack of shit. Whereas if you're full of carbs, you're gonna be feeling energized, you'll be able to carry on the same weight and progressively overload throughout your sets because you've got that energy within you. That's why when people go in competition to lose the fat, try and cut out as many carbs as possible. Carbs are essentially what fuels your energy and essentially makes you gain mass and weight. Protein, which is probably the most important supplement for gaining mass. Protein essentially just fixes your muscles. So yeah, you'll go to the gym all day, you'll be pumping the iron, you'll be getting this naughty arm pump, doing a bit of bench press, probably won't be squatting. You can do all the exercise you want, but your muscles are not going to recover if you're not getting adequate protein intake. Your muscles aren't getting the correct nutrients they need to repair and therefore build. What you're essentially doing when you're working out, say I'm going to use your arms for example, it's a very good example for you guys to use. You're pumping and pumping. When you can feel your arm when you're doing them reps, starting to burn, that is essentially your muscle being ripped. That's your muscle fibre being destroyed. And building muscle is essentially them muscle fibres repairing, but in a way in which they're going to grow bigger. They will grow to then handle that stress that you've then put on the muscle. Protein is essentially the builder in that, and that it repairs the muscle so that the muscle can get bigger, so it can handle more stress. And Fats are very important as well for giving you energy. They help fuel your workouts, they help keep your body temperature regulated, they help circulate nutrients to your body. Fat is also important. You want to try and incorporate a little bit of fat into your diet. It helps you get in calories a little bit more easier. So essentially, when you're trying to bulk up, you're trying to increase your calories. Basically trying to eat in a calorie surplus, which is essentially eating more than what your body needs to do its basic functions. By doing that, you've got excess calories to help put on the muscle and weight you need to gain. And if you're cutting down, you're trying to lower these calories below what they were previously, so your body can burn up fat and even into muscle a little bit if you're trying to lose that weight. What I found was that not every single food works for you. You have to find specific foods that are going to help you gain weight, that you find easy to digest, especially if you find it hard to eat a lot of food. If you're bulking, you need to find foods that you can really pack in. So for me, I used to love eating bagels and stuff. I still do. Potatoes, yogurts as well were good. Cookies, anything that for me had easy carbs to eat, I would destroy. And it's the same for losing the fat as well. If you're trying to cut down the weight, try and find foods that are low in calories that feel really dense. So I'm saying that if you can find foods that say only have 100 calories in them but make you feel really full afterwards, they're the sort of foods that are really going to help you. And that also correlates to when you're trying to gain mass as well. Training. So when it comes to building muscle, everything is actually relatively simple. You see all these people online overcomplicating it with these different workouts for your back. So you're running with this hand and pulling down with that hand. You look like an absolute clown. But training is actually relatively easy as long as you're doing the basic compound movements and a few isolation exercises to really destroy and hit those muscle fibres. You're going to build muscle. I'm going to go over some key terms you might actually hear when it comes to training. So frequency is essentially how much you're hitting that muscle group a week or in a certain period of time. It's how much often you're hitting that muscle. Volume is how much muscle input and output you're actually using with that muscle. So let's say you're doing 3 sets of 6 reps with 20 kilo on bicep curls. That would be then 3 times 6 times 20, and that's your total. That's the total amount of volume that your muscle has worked while doing that, and to achieve that exercise and the output basically. Intensity is essentially how hard you're going and how hard you're training, how much attention you're putting on the muscle. Intensity is so important when it comes to working out. Trust me, intensity is the key to muscle building in my opinion. Intensity can be increased by doing things like drop sets, supersets, giant sets, anything which involves making sure the muscle is under as much tension as possible. So if you want to grow your arms, for example, and you're doing bicep curls and you want to increase the intensity, maybe then do some cable pull downs which hit the other side of the arm. You're lowering the rest time, your workouts will get quicker, and you'll achieve a higher total volume output for that session as well, which means you're basically putting your muscle under more stress, which is going to benefit you in the long run. Trust me, intensity is literally where your gains are going to be made, boys and girls. And muscle toning seems to be a thing that's been going around the industry for years. Muscle toning is not a thing. Essentially, you are literally just building muscle and losing weight. That is what toning is basically. And there's light weights and heavy weights, which are pretty self-explanatory. But what I would say is to increase muscle damage and to build more muscle, what you want to be doing is using as heavy as a weight for as many reps as possible and as many sets as well.
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder. Right. So nobody want to lift this heavy ass weight. Go! I do it, go!
There's no point going stupidly light and not actually working the muscle. There's no point going stupid heavy that you can only force out 1 or 2 or even 3 reps. You need to be finding a happy medium where you're able to control that weight and you're able to move it for a comfortable amount of reps, but also pushing yourself to failure. It's about finding that happy medium. Strength and hypertrophy. I mean, for me, these two go hand in hand. There's a lot of people who would say strength's over here, hypertrophy over there. Hypertrophy is essentially how much muscle you're building and building muscle, and strength is essentially how, well, it's basically what it is, like how strong you are, how much you can bench, how much you can deadlift. That's how strong you are. I mean, for me, it always seems that the stronger I am, the more muscle I have anyway. So I would never really get too into detail, especially if you were first starting out when it comes to strength and hypertrophy. I mean, ideally, if you're getting stronger, then you've got more muscle. That's just the way I look at it. If you look at someone that can bench press 200 kilo, they've got more mass in their chest than someone that can bench press like 20. Compound movements and isolation exercises. This is so important. Compound movements are essentially exercises that use more than one body part at a time. So if you're doing a deadlift, you're using your hamstrings, you're using your upper back, you're using your grip, using your lower back, using your glutes, using so many different muscles. An isolation exercise is exactly what it sounds like. You're isolating the muscle. So an example of that could be a bicep curl, because you're only using one muscle to complete that exercise. You want to be doing a split of about 75% compound exercises to 25% isolation exercises. That focusing on compound exercises is what is going to build you the most mass, trust me. Think about it, if you can move more weight with the compound movement, then essentially you're recruiting more muscle fibers to then move that weight, if that makes any sense to you. Progressive overload is literally the main key to building muscle. Progressive overload is exactly what it sounds like. It's progressively putting more overload on your muscles as time goes on. If you're doing the same weight and reps for each week, you're not getting stronger, you're not getting any better. Your muscles have completely got used to using that weight. So if over time you are getting better and better, your muscle is obviously going to get bigger and bigger to deal with that stress that you're then putting on it. So for example, if you want to increase your bench press and one week you're doing 60 kilos for 5 sets of 5, maybe next time do it for 6 sets of 5, or 5 sets, or 4 sets of 8, or even 5 sets of 6, or 5 sets of 7. Either way, if you're getting better, it means that your muscles are going to get bigger and to be able to deal with that stress. Alright, so we're in the gym, literally the gym. I've taken you in here today to quickly show you. This is like a basic gym that you can find in most places where you live. If you follow me, look, I'm going to do like a little gym tour. I really shouldn't do this because I'm not being sponsored to do this, but this just goes to show you that you can train for a very low price. I mean, how much is the gym membership here?
$18.99 a month.
Yeah, $18.99 a month, and if you can't afford £20 a month, well, get a job. And if you're spending that much on an Xbox membership a year, then, you know, pay for the gym instead. All right, I'll take you for a little wander. All the different machines here, like, the one thing I will emphasise is in these commercial gyms, which are really good value, there's a machine and a free weight for everything. It's all you can ever really need if you're getting into training. So, an ab machine right here, I'm going to show you how this works.
No, that's not right. No,
You've got things like this, you've got a pec deck, front open like that. So many different machines here. You've got a power rack, you can do loads of different things in here. You can do your legs, you can do your squats, you can do your shrugs, a bench, and then you've got all these free weights and dumbbells which go up to about 40 kilos, which realistically is all you're going to need when it comes to starting off from training. As well as loads of different machines for backs. I'm going to get one back. Loads of different machines for back. You can do pull downs, you can do your rows. You've got loads of different cable machines. Just goes to show you that even for a small price, you can find a gym that does absolutely everything for your needs. So there's going to be so many of you out there saying, oh Josh, I can't, my gym doesn't have this, my gym doesn't have that. Travel a little bit further, find one of these commercial gyms, which are literally all over the country now. I recommend you start off in something like this, where you have all the machines, you have as long as you have somewhere to deadlift, which they've got a deadlift platform over there. Look, I love you. As long as you've got somewhere to deadlift, you've got some bars, dumbbells, you've got somewhere to squat, you've got somewhere to bench, you've got no excuses not to hit the gym. So that's just a quick one from me. The gym itself might appear scary. There's a lot of big, intimidating people that are literally juiced beyond their ball sacks in the gym. You might look at people and think they think less of you for being so small. You might think, oh, my arms are so small compared to his, he's gonna take the piss out of me, but it's literally the complete opposite. If you're in the gym, then people will respect you for being in there and changing your body, unless you're doing something completely stupid. Unless you're being a complete arsehole in the gym, nobody's gonna care. And in fact, these big people are actually the most helpful and kind people if you go to the gym. It's normally the biggest people that started off small like yourself, so I would have no worries about going into the gym and having a bit of gym anxiety, which is what a lot of people face. And as well as that, make sure you're using gym etiquette to make sure that people aren't going to get pissed off at you, basically. Put your weights back, make sure you're not hogging all the equipment, all the dumbbells, putting the bars back, just making sure that you're leaving everything the way you found it to make sure that everyone else can use the equipment as well. There's so many people that literally go into the gym that pick up these dumbbells and leave them on the floor and then go squatting a load of weight and then they leave it on the bar. Them people are the ones that people are going to get annoyed at, not you for being small. Make sure you're following gym etiquette, make sure you're doing everything right, and nobody's going to have a problem with you in the gym. Supplementation. Interesting one. I'm going to let you guys work this one out. I get a load of people asking me, oh Josh, what protein powder do you use and what pre-workout do you use? These things are literally so unimportant when it comes to the gym. I can't stress it enough. A supplementation is actually to supplement natural foods. So if you get to the end of the day and you haven't had enough protein, you can supplement that with a protein shake. If you don't have enough energy, you can supplement that with pre-workout. It's things like that. You're supposed to get the majority of your calories, your macros and stuff like that through natural foods. And if you don't, then you can supplement that through things like protein powder and dextrose. So the classic supplements you might hear, you've got whey protein. It speaks for itself. It's basically protein powder. It's condensed protein, which you can have in shakes to get into your system if you really need it. Creatine, which essentially puts more water in your muscles so you can have a higher performance. BCAAs is basically fuel amino acids into your workout so you can perform better and stop fatiguing as early. And pre-workout, which is my favourite. Pre-workout essentially just gives you more energy. So say you get a day where you're feeling extra tired, you haven't quite got it in you today for the workout to smash it. Pre-workout gives you more energy for that, and it gives you a little bit of a buzz. I mean, I really like pre-workout. That's probably the one I'd recommend, to be honest. That and protein powder. And there's obviously other things like fat loss tablets and fat burning tablets, which I've never gone into, which I'm not going to go into because I don't know anything about. The supplements I use are essentially whey protein. I'll normally have like a protein shake after a workout to quickly get in protein for myself. I cycle creatine as well, which helps, which I don't know, it doesn't appear to do much for me. It might do a lot for you, but creatine is one of the things that it's person to person. So I want you guys to remember that supplementation is only for supplementing something that you can't get through natural foods. It's a new year, it's a new day, it's a new decade. I want you guys to go into the new year smashing the gym if that's what your New Year's resolution is. I want you guys to go down to your local gym today. I want you to go sign up straight away. After watching this video, straight away, go sign up. I'm watching you. The worst thing you can do is not start now. The earlier you start, the earlier you make mistakes, the earlier you learn from their mistakes, and then you progress. Literally, the amount of mistakes I made in the gym when I first started was beyond a joke. Let's start this year off with a bang, boys and girls. I'll see you soon.